Hello, leader. Thank you for tuning into the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm, and you are here for episode 140. And yes, it is the most wonderful time of the year, right? As I am now recording this intro, we are halfway through December and heading into the holiday season, a time of rest, relaxation, and recalibration for some, but not for everyone. In fact, it's sort of an inside joke in the industry that aesthetic providers are like the most haggard bunch during the holidays because they are scrambling to take care of everyone else's aesthetic needs. So instead of simmering cider, hanging mistletoe, and baking gingerbread cookies, many of us are buried in to-dos, deadlines, emergencies, and rapid fire, quote unquote, strategic planning for 2023. And it's this time of year that I really see so many people's true colors shine when we're under pressure and feeling stress and beating ourselves up over all the balls that we dropped. Instead of truly making this time to be about savoring the things that really matter in our lives, we get whipped up in the year-end goals, outpacing ourselves from last year and catering to every Sally and Sue that needs Botox. And the message that I aim to share in this episode isn't necessarily about shutting down for the holidays or even about appreciating the things that truly matter to us, although I certainly hope you do. But I recorded this episode for the same reason that I'll be resharing it with you today, because I think it's so important from an overarching life strategy standpoint to really think long and hard about this. I don't know about you, but I am at a point in my life where I've begun to value quite a few things more than money. One of them being my happiness, one of them being my relationships, and the other one being my time to enjoy those things. And when we've spent the primary business growth years of our lives using time to make money, that can become the most known and therefore the most comfortable path to achieving success. But for me, this pathway is no longer sustainable. So it's really about scheduling open time as my priority and blocking time within my calendar for the most important things like self-care, time with my boys, fun, and then using the remaining hours to get very strategic about what work only I can or really want to do, and building and developing my team to effectively and efficiently master the work that drives the engine of my business. And this didn't happen overnight. It wasn't until I did the work, I really flipped my mindset around quote unquote working hours and trading my time for money, that I realized that the open space I gift myself is really this energetic place that breeds creativity, critical thinking, and strategy. Allowing my brain to feel relaxed, unrushed, and unscheduled has generated million-dollar ideas for both my company and for my clients' practices. The more challenging philosophy to grasp is that if it's time that we truly desire, we have to intentionally gift that to ourselves. It doesn't come in 6 months or when XYZ happens. It comes when we decide it comes. There's always a choice. And so in this week, I want to share this bonus episode with you as some food for thought around ways you might be able to show up differently for yourself next year. And if you're looking for accountability and a repeatedly proven framework to do this, there may be a few spots open in my Confidence to Scale 6-week business growth certification program. This is a combination of group and one-on-one coaching to help you expertly build the blueprint to architect your life first business. This is the only coaching program specifically curated for aesthetic and wellness providers to prepare them and their infrastructure to scale up, hire their mini-me, expand locations. But first, you need to prepare yourself as a leader. Prepare to invest in your business and yourself in a brand new way and transition out of the injector trap and into the CEO role that your business so desperately needs to grow to the next level. So head to klcconsultants.com/scale to learn more and apply. Please don't wait. As of today, the today that I'm recording this episode, we only have a couple spots left. So my team wanted me to make sure I told you that once we are full, we are full. There's like no compromise on that, apparently. Okay, leader, without further ado, please enjoy this bonus episode, The Time versus Money Conundrum. Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. As you listen to this episode, I am most likely laying out by a pool or out on a lake at one of our favorite getaway spots outside of Atlanta. It's spring break season, and many of you too are taking time away with your kids and experiencing epic freedom from your business. Or perhaps you're taking your business with you because there's so much to freaking get done. This year, I'll be taking at minimum 6 to 8 weeks of unplugged vacation. In fact, I will be away for 2 weeks in May visiting my sister in Switzerland, which I am so excited about. But I'll admit, it hasn't always been this way. In fact, it wasn't until this year I finally developed enough trust in my team and our systems and in our growth ecosystem that my business could run independently without me. And it's a huge accomplishment, right? It's pretty cool to see how a business that was not even profitable at one time is now able to provide that kind of lifestyle for me, for my family, and for my team members. If I'm honest, I remember a time I didn't really care about taking an unplugged vacation. I always wanted to be plugged in. I loved having my team reach out to me at any time of day or night. It was a delight to have 2 hours of Instagram messaging to do while I was kicking back on the beach. I was eager to get back to the office and do the work I loved. And don't get me wrong, I do still very much love my work. I absolutely love my work now more than ever. But along the way, something changed for me. For many years, my goal was primarily revenue growth and then profitability. Having profits would allow me to build a savings account, make investments into my long-term wealth, and to reinvest back into the business so that it could become a cash machine for me down the road. But what happened for me at some point in time several years ago is something that you might be able to relate to. See, I was the main talent of the business, and my work inside of the business began to exhaust me. Someone needed to manage the back end, the team building, the contractors, the client experience, the vision, and its execution, and it all fell on me. And I became exhausted. While I had a very strong, small but mighty team to support me, my administrative workload began to grow in step with my coaching workload. The part of the business growth that made me more in demand, the part that fed both my bank account and my ego, started to become a drain on my time and left me with an energy void at the end of every day. And I would wake up in the morning trying to pump myself up to take on another jam-packed day of motherhood, housekeeping, dog caring, friending, wifing, fixing, you name it, right? Oh, and do it while I had back-to-back meetings, while I slammed down caffeine and held my bladder until I could sprint to the restroom for a break. I share this story with you because I talk with women on a daily basis who tell me they can relate to being in this place. Loving their work, feeling fulfilled by the impact and relationships they've cultivated with their clients, and yet also so dangerously skilled to the point that even though they are grinding themselves to the bone, keeping everything seemingly intact, they will sacrificially chisel away at their most precious resource in the process. The fact that you're listening to this podcast, the fact that you embrace my work and relate to the things I have to say, tells me you are going to embody this next ideology. You are a grinder. You know how to work your ass off to make things happen. You're ambitious AF. You have a tenacious resilience. You've been kicked down and climbed back up more times than you can count. And most people admire your discipline and think you're part crazy and part blessed because most people don't understand what it took to get you to where you are now. They see the product of today and think, wow, she's lucky. That seems fun. I can sense a sea of heads nodding and bobbing yes right about now. So if that's the case, I can also surmise that if it means keeping your original goal of hitting a specific revenue milestone, generating X amount of profits, building your business to an identifiable presence, you are also willing to work longer hours, put in the extra effort, micromanage the shit out of your business if that's what it takes. Yes, I see you. Hello, soul sister. But for me, at some point, my priorities changed. The thrill of growth became diluted by my longing to experience more pleasure in my life as a whole. I was strapped for time, and the rate at which I could grow my profitability began to plateau. And so often I'll ask our clients what they value most, their time or profits. And in 100% of scenarios, they'll answer time. The conversation sounds something like this. Susie, let's talk about your life goals. What does your ideal day look like? And Susie says, well, Kaylee, it looks like me running my business like a total boss, showing up, checking on things, laughing with and enjoying my team and customers, cashing in lucrative income earned by other providers, training and mentoring my team and incredible colleagues, writing and delivering keynote talks, treating only the most ideal clients and complex cases, sharing my philosophy with the world, then going to lunch with a girlfriend, shopping, playing tennis, and prepping for dinner before picking up the kids and enjoying an evening of joy and love with my husband. Right? We're all like, okay, dream world. Wow, Susie, that sounds incredible. And then I'll say, let's talk about your current average day. And Susie will say, okay, it's me waking up at 5 a.m. to work out before giving the kids a kiss goodbye and blasting out the door to see 15 patients, half of them for procedures I'm completely bored with, dealing with team drama and putting out fires, staying late because I needed to squeeze extra clients in because Susie Jr. called in sick, and ordering DoorDash because I don't have time to cook. If I'm lucky, I'll make a game or practice or recital, but honestly, I have so much work to do when I get home. It's a special occasion if that happens. But the business needs me. Oh, wow, Susie, that sounds exhausting. And Susie says, yes, Kaylee, it is. I'm overwhelmed and I'm craving more time to work on my business. And I'll say, great, Susie. So let's talk about your life goals. What's the most important to you? And Susie will say, well, Kaylee, it's building a business that's strong enough to sustain itself and produce enough profits to allow me to have my dream schedule. That's why I'm grinding now. The truth is, Susie is grinding now because that is the only way she knows how to grow her profits, and she believes that increasing her profits will increase her time. But is that really true? If that was the case, she would already be living out her dream schedule, wouldn't she? What if Susie instead decided to make a significant investment into her business and pay herself and her business royally in the currency of time as a CEO? What would happen if she had 2 days per week to work on her business? What if she had the time to build a membership program or recurring revenue model that would quadruple her sales? What if she had time to hire a manager and another injector to train and develop to take over her delivery role in her business? What if she wrote a book or a course and this asset produced passive income for her? What would that be worth? You see, leader, in many cases, time or lack of it is not your actual problem. Your inability to fill the time that you do have with pleasure is a symptom of being stuck in old habits by choosing to do what's known, working hard, versus taking the risk of investing in time at the possible expense of revenue generation. And we all do this. This is not a knock on anyone who's running a thriving business and has a billion responsibilities. This is reality for just about every high growth female that I have the privilege of working with. And because I've been there, because I've faced this beast head on, I've become intimately acquainted with both the time versus money conundrum and the bridge to freedom from it. Remember when you started your business and you were terrified to make that first big investment, to sign a 5-year lease, to place a large inventory order, to acquire a new technology, to treat lips, a chin, temples, inject Sculptra? Now those hurdles are merely stepping stones for you. Maybe you even opened a second location, like no big deal. You used to be terrified to go live on Instagram, but now you do it weekly and maybe even look forward to it. When you take bold and decisive action and continuously practice something, you begin to develop mastery. And you took a risk on yourself. You believed enough in your ability to eventually succeed at all of these milestones. For Susie, she was fully in demand, had taken so many risks, but for some reason didn't believe that the value she could bring to her business as a CEO would create a greater impact on her life than the revenue she could directly produce by treating patients. She said she valued time, but instead she was focused primarily on sales. And the problem with this is Susie is living out of integrity. And when you live out of integrity, you lose energy, you lose passion, and you lower your frequency. This attracts problems and exhaustion into your life. This overwhelms your ability to handle difficult situations with calm, deliberate confidence. This distracts you from focusing on your core values and instead creates a cycle of squandering resources on impulsive investments to free your time or do it for you, so you can keep doing the same thing you've been doing that got you to this place to begin with. The expenses begin to add up and the machine becomes even more costly. Your profit margins begin to narrow. So what do? Go back to what you know best. You try harder to work your way out of overwhelm and exhaustion with more work. Leader, this is when working with a coach becomes imperative. When I was at this place, I couldn't see the label from inside the bottle. I was blinded. I truly felt handcuffed. I felt like the only way to develop a new relationship with my time was to grind it out until XYZ, you name it. That new hire, that new location, that new offer, that new CRM, that new marketing company, that new Facebook ads manager. I mean, insert your own shiny new thing here. It's really fascinating to experience this now from a different perspective. Almost watching myself rush and then pausing and asking, why am I rushing? Where am I going? What am I trying to achieve? What will that extra sprint do for me? I asked myself, what comes first, time or money? Do I need time to make money or do I need money to make time? Think about it. When you're telling yourself you don't have enough time, what's preventing you from creating that space for yourself? Is it a belief that your business will fail? Is it a fear of earning less income or not growing at 100% year over year like you did last year? What does that mean about you if you don't? What will people think? Or maybe a better question is, what if transitioning into the CEO role in your business meant caring for your main talent, your MVP, your Beyonce, like the queen she is? LeBron James doesn't get the whip cracked on him every day. He trains at 110% and then recovers. He ices, stretches, gets massages, goes in the sauna, watches film, eats wholesome nutrition, sleeps, and then prepares a plan before stepping on the court again. So why would you try to build $1 million empire and treat your superstar like a minion? For Susie, there's some kind of gratification she gets from feeling busy, from checking boxes, from being needed in so many areas. There's a comfort of the known there, of doing the grind, of stepping in and checking those boxes to feel that done energy. But the irony is for Susie, for me, and for you, wealth is built when we live in integrity with how we say we value our time. Profits do not produce time, but time will allow us the space, the creativity, and the flexibility to execute on the development of assets that generate tremendous income and give us time to invest and manage the money we're making. The goal should be to live off of your assets and earnings from those assets versus your earned income. Let me repeat that. The goal here is to live off of your assets and earnings from those assets versus the paycheck that you are or not collecting for yourself. For me, it was a lesson of learning that independent of the amount of income my business generates, I can make a choice to spend money only on the things that truly bring value to my life. I can get ruthless about checking my P&L, fully understanding the difference between earned income and net profits, and creating compensation plans for employees in my company that tie back into the total profitability goal of the business, not just gross sales. Cultivating more time is about transitioning from the doing of the business to strategic planning and leading with clear oversight while inserting myself into the day-to-day business with well-directioned intention. Yes, there is a time and place for grinding it out, but let's be honest with ourselves. Are we explicitly clear on what our life priorities are and how we are living in integrity now? Truth be told, all we are guaranteed is today, Goddess. Let's live our best life now. Wait, before you go, hey, if you're vibing with this conversation and you want to join me on my mission to help 100 inspiring and intentional women cross the next $1 million milestone in their business this year, or leader, maybe you want to become one of them, head over to Facebook and join our free community, the Fierce Factor Society. Over there, we're taking this conversation to an elevated level. Get access to resource guides, podcast supplements, guideposts, and direct communication with me, my expert team, and of course, a society of fierce women making big moves and disrupting the status quo in aesthetic wellness. You can link directly through the show notes or head to Facebook and search the Fierce Factor Society. See you there, Goddess.